Hey everyone, welcome to day whatever in this quarantine. Since I got a lot of time on my hands at the moment, I've been wanting to do this video for quite a while, so here's the opportunity, so might as well do it. I'm going to go through every guitar that I have. A lot of people ask me, how many guitars do you actually have? I have no idea. Literally, I've lost track. Anyways, start off with my very first guitar. This thing I have modified so many times, I have no idea how many parts I've put into it. This is an Elica Strat, just beginner Stratocaster with a blue sunburst. I've swapped the neck 3 times now, I believe. I had 24 fret neck after the original one, which was 21 fret. Had a Floyd Rose on it, swapped the pickguard, swapped out the pickups. Currently has a set of hot rails from GFS. I had a noiseless single coil at one point in the neck. I stole that and put it in my other guitar, on my gigging ones, which I'll show later. I'm going to put a new one back in. This has been kind of out of commission for quite a long time, so I'd like to get this back going really soon. It's almost done. Kill switch, 7-way switching, locking tuners, and a Graphtec nut. This is a Behringer Strat copy that I made into a Frankenstrat. Based off of the first iteration of the Frankenstrat, Eddie Van Halen's guitar, the way it looks like on the Van Halen first album. The reason why I didn't make it the red, white, black one, which was my original intention, was because due to the control cavity, the way it was cut, it wouldn't look right if I made it into the red, white, black one. So this one has the GFS VEH pickup, which is supposed to be the brown sound pickup like Eddie Van Halen's guitar. Kill switch, and I swapped the neck, naturally tongue oil finished, and locking tuners on this. Next one I got here, this is a fake, not a real one, but a fake Gibson Les Paul Zakk Wylde Custom. Don't tell Zakk Wylde though. This guitar I got back right after I graduated college. As with any other of the chipsins, you gotta swap out all the electronics because they're just pure garbage. So I got an actual signature EMG Zakk Wylde pickup set, 8185, and all the new wiring associated with it. Got it fret dressing and filed down. This actually plays really nice and sounds really good too, despite being a fake. And of course I got it autographed by the man himself, Zakk Wylde. This is a Squier Bullet Strat that I made into the Monterey Pop Festival Fender Strat that Jimi Hendrix famously burnt while on stage. His first US festival, if I'm not mistaken, back in 1967. Jimi Hendrix actually hand-painted with nail polish, if I'm not mistaken, and just kind of spray painted white a Fiesta Red Strat. So I took this black Bullet Strat and did the same thing. I took some pictures of the reissue that Fender had online, blew it up to scale on AutoCAD, and traced it all out and painted this all by hand with acrylics. Then swapped the logo from a Squier to Fender. Shh! Don't tell anyone about that. Swapped all the pickups and electronics with a Jimi Hendrix single coil set from GFS pickups as well as all the wiring, and swapped it to a large steel trem block on here as well. Okay, this next one is a Washburn Dimebag Signature Dime 333 model that I bought off my buddy Menu. Shout out to Menu back up north, bud. I know I still owe you a video of me jamming on this. I didn't forget about it. I will get to that. So what I've done with it since I've got it from him is replace the pickup switch selector switch, because it was broken, and I swapped the bridge pickup to a Bill Lawrence L500 XL, just like Diamond Bike had in the bridge position. Not going to bother with the neck position because it sounds pretty good, but the bridge, original stock pickup, didn't have enough outputs, that's why I swapped it out. Really cool guitar. I remember seeing him back in high school in the lunchroom jamming on this thing. I was like, man, that's so sweet. I'd love to have that. And well, you know, I've got it now. So thanks again, Evander. Appreciate it. All right, this is the last signature or artist model that I have on the wall back here. This is a Galaxy guitar. I believe they call it the Joey Keithley DOA guitar. Joey Keithley is the guitar player, main songwriter, and singer from the punk rock band DOA, Canadian punk rock band. Hells yeah! This guitar I actually bought from Joe Keithley himself. Joey, aka Joey Shithead. He was playing in Kingston at the Mansion back in 2016, 2017, I think. And he had this guitar for sale for $400 at the stand. And I looked at the specs on it. A DiMarzio Tone Zone pickup, all Tone Pro hardware. And I was like, man, $400, the parts alone are just worth $400. And this is a whole guitar and its own. This is actually his backup guitar during that tour. They made 50 of these closely, or 45, I can't quite remember. I remember asking him. Sorry if I don't have those details quite right now. But as you can see, he put just a big screw and a big washer for the strap button with this strap and a random piece of duct tape and a pick holder right here, which that's actually kind of convenient. So these guitars were made in the same factory as Epiphone. It's a really solid guitar. I had him sign it, of course. You can see some of the signatures kind of worn off from me actually playing it, because I don't just hang these on the wall. They do look cool, but I actually use them. I actually used this on one of the recordings for my album. Yes, an album I'm recording. More details on that later. This guitar is a Squier Stratocaster. They call it, I think it was the... Ooh, I can't remember the model number. I'll put it on the screen. I got this off of Kijiji for 70 bucks. I think they retailed originally for like $500, so really good steal. This is currently one of my guitars that I use when I play with Tastes Like Chicken. Really, really solid guitar. Great for gigging. I swapped the nut to a Graphtec nut. Swapped the pickups to a Seymour Duncan JB because that is just my favorite pickup for the bridge position of all time. I just love the tone of it. This is a GFS Hot Rail. I think they just called it the Hot Rail. And a GFS noiseless single coil, which I stole from my first guitar. Really nice tonal setup. Kill switch with a kill pot right here. And I also swapped the trem block to a brass trem block. It gives a little bit better sustain. Okay, this guitar is an LTD EC256, so single cut. Basically, you know, LTD's version of a Les Paul. This thing is freaking awesome. I mean, just look at that flame at the top. You know, it's just a veneer, but look, man, that looks awesome. Currently, have this set up in half step. So I can do my whole like Slash impersonation if I wanted to. This one is an Epiphone Explorer that I found at a pawn shop. I've always been a fan of Explorer, especially if you ever listen to Metallica. James Hetfield always rocks one of these, or Flying V, or sometimes to a lesser extent Les Paul, but mostly associated with this. As you can see, the guy who previously had it put a checker plate and painted it gold, which I like the color aesthetic that way. I might swap this to a gold plastic pickguard. I'm not too sure about the checker plate. We'll see. Then the guy who had before me also installed a set of 8185 EMG pickups, which is the solid set. I currently have this set up in full step, so for grinding that metal or drop C, just to rock out on it there. Nice, the heavy stuff. Next one I have here is a PRS Standard 24, PRS SC Standard 24, I should say. This thing is freaking amazing. This plays so well. I gotta really say for like PRS products, even though this is technically the cheapest one, cheapest PRS you can buy, or at least one of them, this thing plays phenomenal. This plays way at like a much higher price range, you'd think. This is such a nice guitar. I can't say enough about it. This is currently one of my gigging guitars with Tastes Like Chicken as well. The only two things I've done to this is swap the bridge pickup to a Seymour Duncan JB. Once again, I really like that tone. And installed a set of locking tuners. Now, this one has got to be my favorite guitar, if not my top three. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite one. Is my custom-made Flying V I got from China. Now, at one point when I ordered this, it was still relatively cheap to get a custom-made guitar for a decent price from China. Most guitars you get from China, basically, even like if it's the fake Gibsons or whatever, all the electronics are crap. So you gotta go into it expecting that you gotta replace all the pickups and electronics in it, as well as getting it set up in like a fret dressing, because it's going to be pure garbage when you get it. So you got to factor that in the price. Nowadays, I think just to get a guitar alone, custom from China, you're getting like the $500 or $600 range. So now it's no longer worth it, because you got to expect an extra like $200 for pickups, plus a setup, which might be another $100 or $150 depending on who you can get it from. But this thing, I love this thing. This is my go-to. This is the other guitar I gig with, Tastes Like Chicken, along with the Strat and the PRS. I mean, I can't say enough about this thing. Locking tuners, 24 frets, just that classic Flying V with no pickguard on it. 2 volumes, 1 tone. I got a kill pot for doing kill switch stuff. And I got 2 split coil knobs here to split the Seymour Duncan JB and the Seymour Duncan Jazz 2, so it's the hot rodder set. This thing is just amazing. This is a 2013 Gibson SG, SGJ. And I was wanting an SG for quite a while, but once again, I'm kind of the guy that doesn't like pick guards, so I wanted a nice clean look. And 24 frets. And typically for a Gibson SG model, up until this time, it's really hard to get something like that for inexpensive, especially if you're buying brand new. Then they came out with this model, which was relatively affordable for a USA-made Gibson guitar. I think it was like, taxes in and everything was like $700. If you know Gibson SGs, you'd be like, wow, that's actually a good price. And the fact that it was no pick guard, 24 fret. The only thing I did with this was just remove that stupid poker chip, because I find that so damn tacky. Other than that, yeah, this thing is solid. This next one is my one acoustic. Technically I have a second one, but like I don't really play acoustics too much. But if I was going to get one, I was like, I need something that's pretty solid. This is my Yamaha APX 1000. In Pearl White, also known as Betty White. Thanks to Jacob Rahani for giving the nickname to this. This is what I was looking for. I wanted something that had a cutaway, access to some higher frets, and not just end at 20th fret too. I believe this has 22 and like a half of a 23rd fret. Action's really nice. Really awesome pickup setup from Yamaha for the piezo pickup in here. It sounds great, it looks awesome, great for recording, especially if something I've been recording, which you'll see at some point in the near future, hopefully. Now we gotta give some love to the 4 strings here, the low end. This is my Oscar Schmidt, Oscar Schmidt's by Washburn, 4-string bass, 24 fret. Got this thing for $50. And I put in a set of Sancher EMG Geezer Butler passive pickups, which is 6 times more than the actual bass itself. And people are like, why the hell did you put that type of pickups in this bass? I mean, it looks cool. it plays nice, it stays in tune, it does everything what I want it to do. At least I didn't like the pickup setup, so screw it, I'm putting expensive pickups in a cheap bass. Now this thing is quite an anomaly to say the least. This is a Toledo 12-string full hollow body electric guitar. This, fortunately, since there's no serial numbers on this, I try to do a lot of research on this thing. This is basically a guitar from Japan made by the factory Aria. And for as far as saying how old this thing is, this model, among other ones that are very similar to it, were built in between 1966 to 1970 is what I could find. Toledo was a brand that was associated with a Canadian Musicians Institute, like a music school of some sort. So it's Aria, sometimes spelled Array, but just branded as Toledo for Canada. And they also did that as well in the States under different names as well. And what I did with this is swap the pickups. These originally had some large, almost like P90 style pickups that were just completely broken. They weren't usable anymore, and all the wiring was just complete garbage. I tried to salvage the three-way selector switch, and tried to rebuild it, but it was just, there was no way to salvage it. So, all new wiring, tones and pots, brand new selector switch like Fender Telecaster selector switch, and these GFX mini humbucker pickups. And now for something completely different, a little mandolin that I got. I forget where I bought this from now. I think from a pawn shop. Has a single coil pickup in it. Just something else for jam nights. This is my other acoustic, a classical guitar that I went to buy off somebody on Kijiji for 50 bucks, and after talking to him for a little bit, he just ended up giving it to me for free. Things I've been doing with this, I've been trying to modify it, add a acoustic pickup to it. Don't have it quite working right because of the nylon strings, so just experimenting with the pickups at the moment. So. This is an Epiphone ES339 in black that I got. Just wanted to get something that I could do, add just nice like somewhat of an acoustic tone to certain things. Use something as like a jazz guitar. As far as modifications go, just remove the pick guard because I think it looks like crap. Especially the Epiphone one, it looked really cheap. Filled in the holes with some wood filler. Swap the knobs to Telecaster chrome knobs, just because I thought it looked way better aesthetically. This is a Jackson JS32, if I remember correctly, or 22. Can't quite remember now. In a red translucent finish with a maple board. I got this as a guitar for half step and also just to do the 80s shred. At one point when I was going to buy one of these, because these are actually relatively inexpensive, I was thinking getting one in white and putting tiger stripes on it, just go full-blown Steel Panther. So as far as modifications, I installed a GFS Little Crunch, or Crunch Zone, I can't quite remember the name of it. And I took the PRS SC pickup, bridge pickup, and put it in the neck position. It sounds really good in that position. Coil splitting with an orange drop capacitor and locking tuners on this. And finally, my last guitar, so whatever we are up to now. This is, I think this is, I keep forgetting the model numbers. Jackson JS 7-string that I bought, as of this recording, about 3 weeks ago. So this has not been modified as of yet. I'm planning on buying a set of Dragonfire pickups for this, because GFS doesn't make anything for 7 strings. The guitar store I bought this from, they said as far as Jackson orders are concerned, or all their Fender products that they buy, order in. This is one of the most popular, if not the most popular model that gets purchased. Jackson 7 strings. Who knew? Alright everyone, thanks for watching this video. Stay safe out there during the quarantine times of the coronavirus. Make sure to wash your hands. And thanks for taking the time to just hang out with me and check out all my guitars and my obsession. Take it easy.